So like at the end of the show, like Ted Lasso gets an Android phone and they make him.
Oh, here we go.
Ted's
last show.
Yeah, the teammates turn on him like you. It's like, no, you see, the camera's actually better, and they're like, get him, and then you're like,
yeah,
like
he has green bubbles.
Yeah.
Remember that record that you bought me like 2 years ago? Well, I just remembered that it's sitting in the closet. So I called you up just to tell you I've been meaning to listen to that. I've been meaning to listen to that. Why don't you come over and talk about it? Ooh, ooh. Why don't you come over and talk about it?
So anyways, welcome to the show. Welcome to I've been meaning to listen to that, the podcast where we go through albums we've been meaning to listen to and use as content to learn about each other and our guests. I'm Andrew Ambrose Lee.
I'm being quiet now.
Yeah,
so I can't introduce myself. I'm Michael Limentato.
Jesus.
I'm Stenley Philippe.
I'm Steph Senior. I'm here. Hooray.
Yeah. And this person's great. This person's interesting. This person's cool. This person's wise and interesting and cool. And yeah, she's the host of the most wonderful pod of the year. It's Jackie Gonzalez-Durruthy, everybody.
Hello.
Hey.
Thanks for saying cool twice. That made me feel real extra nice.
Yeah. I gotta be honest. I was like pulling up the name of your podcast to make sure I got it right because I've like humiliated myself in front of other guests. Like,
I guess I'm not extra cool. Okay.
Yeah, she's also cool and interesting and cool. So,
Cool.
yeah. So, hi, Jackie. How are you doing?
Happy to be back.
Yeah, it was
Happy
already.
to see familiar faces. Happy to meet Stefanie and Michael. I'm happy to be here.
Or, you know, and on theme, are you happier than ever?
Oh.
Well, is that on theme? That's not the album we were supposed to listen to.
That's true. But it's still, yeah.
It is.
Like, I
It is.
listen to that
Yeah,
one.
do not give our guests anxiety.
Surprise.
Got Steph.
Yeah, get your Billie Eilish albums together, Steph. Jesus.
No. Like,
Get with it.
The past two are hard to tell apart. Maybe. I don't know. I didn't finish listening to Happier Than Ever. I barely finished listening to this one, but I did for this pod. I listened to it multiple times. I listened to it multiple times for the pod.
Okay.
Barely though.
Already a great start. So let's talk to everybody. What is y'all's history with Billie Eilish? Like just as a figure before coming in today to record. So let's start with you, Jackie. Where are you at with Billie Eilish? You said at one point in our correspondence you thought she was the future of pop, but then well, how do you feel these days?
I love Billie Eilish as an artist, as a person. I think
She come to your show though? Like
she didn't come to my show, and she does live in LA, so that's kind of fucked up. I think that her first album was she set the bar for herself so high, which is unfortunate because I've been let down ever since. When her first album came out, I thought, yes, as I texted you, like, this is the future of pop music. She is she is the sound of her generation. This is new and it will continue to like grow. And I'm so excited that she's here. And then she decided to sing a lot of lullabies and put my ass to sleep. Listen, she came out of the darkness. She thought she was like, I'm not gonna be spooky anymore.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah,
I can hear you.
Jackie, do you mean when you talk about her first album, do you mean her first EP, that Don't Smile at Me, or When We All Fall Asleep, Where Do We Go?
I'm a bad guy.
Okay, yeah. Okay, sorry, just making sure I'm talking about the same stuff.
She also has a random song called Vendetta that I'm really into. It's not on that album. It might be from that first EP, but it's early and I fucking love it. But alas, that's the Billie that I want. And I have not had that Billie since. So I really like her and I would love for her to go back to her roots. And I think that she has like really informed other musicians. I think Taylor Swift's really been like, ooh, I'm gonna try that. Like other artists have really tried to dip into that Billie.
Oh yeah, a little bit. Yeah, with the
And maybe that's
yeah.
why she's like, actually, guys, I'm not. But I don't know if this is such a deep cut. I don't know if any of you guys watched Felicity, J.J. Abrams' first TV show.
I have not seen
but
that. Yeah.
there's a character in it, her roommate Megan, who is very goth. She's goth, she's goth, she's goth. And then someone makes her aware that, like, hey, that's not unique. Like, other people are goth too. And she's like, what? And so then she decides that she's going to be Jackie O. Like, she's going to like dress like that, and she's going to go back in time, and like that's going to be her uniqueness. And that's how I feel. That's what the trajectory of Billie Eilish so far. That's where I'm at with Billie. I do really like her, and and I love her in Phineas. I support her as a person and an artist, but I'm just not listening to any of her albums other than the first.
All right, valid. What about Stefanie? Let's start with Stefanie now. Like, what is your history of Billie Eilish?
Yeah, I was late to the Billie Eilish game because she was so everywhere when she came out, and I was like, this is not that exciting. She's kind of overrated. Whatever. And then I don't know, something turned me around on her. I think it was like I don't know if I just decided to stop being a dick about it or what, but something turned me around on her. And I think she's really smart. I think I think she's just a really smart. I think she's a great singer. I think she's a really smart musician. I think like I've heard some of Phineas's music, like solo music, and it's fine. Like he's a really good producer, but whatever she's bringing to that writing, to that collaboration is like, that's just like next level like pop music. And I do think that first album, When We All Fall Asleep, Where Do We Go, is very like, I don't think anybody has repeated it, including her. You know what I mean? It's so different, and it's so like, it's so hard to pin down. Yeah, I like whatever she's bringing in that special secret sauce. But this is like, I've been listening to this album since it came out. I listened to it the day it dropped as a hater kind of protest, because this was in the cycle of this album came out in the cycle of like when whatever that fucking Taylor Swift album, she was like every 3 weeks she was like, here's the new variant, here's the new variant, here's the new variant, here's the new variant. And then it was like it was like lining up with like everybody was dropping albums, so a new fucking variant would drop, and there was like a lot of speculation that she was doing it to block everybody from charting. And
really?
So just like so there's a lot of speculation that she was
about
doing.
Taylor Swift.
By the way,
listen,
make sure to go to your local Walgreens to get the vaccine for the latest Taylor Swift album variant.
For the latest variant.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I sort of just like, I was like, well, I'm just going to listen to this album. One, just to like have some new music in my rotation. And then two, just to give it some listens to try to fucking keep this bitch at the fucking, to keep her from doing her bullshit. And then I just listened to it all the way through in one sitting, and I was like, oh shit, I love this album. So,
good.
So that's where we are on that one. It makes me feel sad in like a good way, like Tom Waits.
Mm-hmm. Well, Michael, like someone who's known to indulge in those like music like this, what is your response to this? Like
what, music by women?
No, like sad
notorious
music.
Taylor
like sad,
Swift super fan.
Oh, you were saying that sarcastically.
Yeah.
Honestly, I kind of don't know if I think I think she makes sad music, but I don't think it's that slow necessarily. I do think Happier Than Ever
for sure, yeah.
Or Happier Than Ever. Boring album. Boring. Fully agree with Jackie there. I was like, oh my God. I don't even know how she's like popular, like a stadium artist with that album. It's snooze fest. I'd rather go to a Lady Raven show at 2 p.m. than listen to that Billie Eilish album. But all that being said, I knew of Billie actually from Ocean Eyes. I was around when that was like one of her first singles. It's from 2016. It's very, very, very like ethereal. It's a lot of her like whoa vocalizing that she still kind of does. And I Don't Want to Be You Anymore were like those first two songs that I was like, this girl has it. Like she has it. She has like a voice. She's so young too. Like she's so interesting and young
She was
and
like
able
what,
to
15 or something when
yes,
she
like
did
15
Ocean
or
Eyes?
16.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She wrote that for her dance team because she couldn't go to one of their competitions.
It's
And
crazy.
so she was like, but I will write you a song to dance to. And then it was Ocean Eyes.
like
She put
the
it on
best
SoundCloud
song
and it
ever.
blew up.
Yeah, right.
Whatever. Yeah, very crazy. But and then I do think When We All Fall Asleep, Where Do We Go is very good. I think it's leaning into this niche that pop artists don't do, which is like spooky pop, spooky fun pop. Like Kim Petras does it and Billie Eilish do it. Those are like the only two
fun.
that can do it. Kim Petras has a really fun Halloween album. If anybody wants to dip into that,
cares.
I enjoy that a lot. It's produced by Dr. Luke, which, you know, maybe we care about, maybe we don't, but depending on the day.
His dad's Dr. Darth Vader also. That's pretty interesting.
Exactly.
That was a good one.
I don't agree. But I did really like this album when I heard it. I like that it's only 10 tracks. I think that is a big
Me
boon.
too.
I don't want to get too much into that, but I got really into this album.
Okay, I'll just quickly say like Billy, yeah, like I mean, like everyone said, you know, Bad Guy was like the track that introduced me to Billie Eilish, and you know, she just had this. I like that spooky pop definition. I think that's exactly what she sounds like almost all the time. And I don't know if I was gonna label her as like the person to wear the crown, the pop crown, until listening to this album. And it's funny, my girlfriend listened to this album when it came out, and I was kind of like, oh yeah, cool, whatever. I don't really care. But I just want to talk about it because I really, really like this album. And I think she's almost a blueprint for, you know, the discussions we've been having about pop. Look, a lot of really cool, amazing pop artists are evolving and emerging these last couple of years. And who's going to be able to actually like, carry it through? Billy's giving like almost like a blueprint for what you can do, not necessarily sonically, but strategically to actually continue on. So I'm excited to talk about this album.
Yeah, I think you need at least like 3 stadium level albums to be like, okay, now you're cemented in the pantheon. Now you can do whatever you want, even if like they flop right afterwards. You know, they're still like, okay, we still have to invite Katy Perry to the VMAs and stuff. Like we still have to like do a bunch of stuff. You know, it's like it's a big, yeah. Like
Are you talking about winner of best VMAs performance ever, Catherine Hudson?
That's right. 2/3 everyone
I have to
saw
say,
and
I
remember
saw
that.
like highlights of her VMA performance this year, and sorry, it looked really fucking cool. I thought she really
apologize.
And you should be sorry.
I thought she did a big old show, a big old performance.
Yeah,
Apparently, her
she's-
fiance Orlando Bloom disagrees with you.
I
Wait,
know,
really?
I know.
Oh, really?
Every pan to him looks.
He was just like,
He's just tired. I think that he's just tired. I'm sure he likes it, but
yeah, I'm sure he does. I think that's just his face now.
Yeah.
I love
he
how
was too busy washing the dishes and closing every pantry.
and getting his
That's
dick
right.
sucked.
Oh my God, we can't talk about Katy Perry anymore. I'm sorry,
Oh,
guys.
that was the best quote.
Your dick sucked.
Oh, what a quote.
She is the cringe queen. She's always
100%.
been though, but now it's like really hard to watch.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, like that's like yeah, like she's kind of the first, and also the thing she has that's like Michael Stenley, you were saying, is like she has like definable like eras, like that's like really easy to chart and like kind of recognizable, like, oh, her hair's like this, so this must have been happier than ever, like, and stuff. And like, okay, now
Yeah.
she has this kind of bandana, and it's like the new era basically.
Like, you know
And-
who like I was thinking about who's her peer, and for me, I kept thinking about Tyler the Creator. I feel like her and Billy and Tyler are just
they're pals too. Yeah.
they're pals, and the way they create and express, they're very in line, and I love, because I love new Tyler stuff, and I love this new Billy stuff too.
Yeah, this is like, I think this is her cherry bomb. I think this is kind of the first 3 Tyler albums. He was like a child. He was like making very angry music, and then the 4th album is kind of like this puberty album of like he's in his chrysalis, and then like the next album he's like a fully formed, like those are his masterpiece albums. So like, yeah, I think that's what I think of her. I think she's awesome. I think she's not like every time she comes out with a new album, I'll listen to it and enjoy it. But she's not like when I'm just going about my life. You're right, Michael. I don't really think about her that much. But whenever she's in my face, I'm like, hey, this is great. Like, this is amazing music. This is like top class. I think it's just like I'm a little above her demographic. I'm just like a little too old to be like, that's the other thing too. I feel a little uneasy with just like how young she is and stuff like that. And like, there's a little bit of like discomfort of like, oh, I'm too, this is like a little uncomfortable to like listen to and stuff. But, or just like the moral implication of like, should we have this child like be a superstar this early on and stuff like that? There's a little bit of that, but I think, but that said, it's great. It's fantastic stuff.
I do think, sorry, not to cut you off, but I do think like, especially with her being like a lesbian or like out as a queer person, like I think there's like so much self-discovery that she's like gone through that we've like seen her do, which is really cool, but that also triggers my like, oh my god, like I would absolutely hate if I were under the eye of everyone while I was like figuring all this out. I think about that a lot, especially on this album where she kind of, it's a lot of like, and then she comes home and
it's very much so a coming out album.
Yeah, and so it's like, it's cool, but it's also like, oh, that would have been mortifying for me. So I just think about that a lot.
Yeah, and I think her youth comes out too with the idea of the pandemic, right? It's like, for a lot of artists, during that period, they were either established or kind of living their lives in a particular way. But she was so young and then already a superstar, and then super isolated, and then trying to find herself in a world where there was no room to do that, like literally no space to do that. So I think that also kind of impacted how she kind of translates. And I think what she's missing is that Celine. She doesn't have that Celine. Like Celine Dion is like,
no matter. Jackie's ears are perked up. Like,
like she just has something. Like Celine has something. Like Taylor kind of has something, sort of. But like those.
And Lisa very reluctantly,
sort of,
kind of.
Brittany Mahomes definitely has it, but like those
my queen,
those superstars. But those superstars that transcend all types of like boxes, whereas Billie, you forget that she's so young, and then when you remember that she's so young, you're like, oh fuck, she's still really young, and she's had to deal with a lot of shit, and it's almost sad, like listening to her, produce such amazing music at the cost of her youth. Like I don't know. This album really made me feel like, man, it's not worth it.
Yeah.
Wow.
So interesting. I love a youth album.
Oh, interesting.
Like I love Jagged Little Pill. She was like what, 20, 19 when she
She's
wrote
like 19
that?
or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, but she's Canadian, so we age different. You know
I
what I
love
mean?
Olivia Rodrigo. I think that like
That's
and I
appropriate.
like
Yeah, that works.
what she's writing about is young, and her perspective
Oh, for
is
sure, yeah.
young, and it's so relatable either if you're in it or you're like, oh no, I was there, and that is exactly how I felt, where Billie is in her writing is more like mature, or she's just not expressing in the same like honestly youthful way.
Yeah.
Not to say she's not expressing herself honestly, it's just not it's just also a different genre. She's not taking from the inspirations that Olivia is.
Yeah.
But
it's not as much of like a time capsule of youth in the way that like, and like I love that Olivia Rodrigo album, because I love that it is I love that it is so perfectly like this. That's how I felt at 17. Do you know what I mean? It's so perfectly like,
so you don't feel like you're taking advantage of her, because you feel like she's very aware of her age and what she should be doing and what she and her freedom, and also not her freedom because she's so young. I don't know.
I think legally people shouldn't be able to make music until they're 38.
We miss out on a lot of people's best albums because a lot of people wrote really good ones really young.
Don't agree.
Like veto. Well,
that would also mean that Taylor Swift would not have made music.
Oh my God. Actually, this is a real thing I'm saying. I don't mean it as a joke anymore.
Well, it's not, like, also, it's just side note. I think Olivia is, if she has one more stadium worthy album, I think she's in that pantheon too. Like I think she's one
my
more.
pop princess of right now.
She's phenomenal. I really love that album. Yeah. So let's go through themes of this record. Hit me hard and soft. I don't know
but
why
mostly soft.
Yeah.
So she's gonna hit you soft. You can hit me hard, but I'm gonna hit you soft.
Yeah, let's
I love
Jackie,
it.
you're funny. You're telling us some funny
I'm
jokes.
really sorry, and
You're
I
telling
don't,
us
I
some
don't
little
want to be a hater
jokes.
because I do love Billie Eilish. I'm just making jokes.
Jackie,
Yeah.
I really hope.
Michael, women can make jokes too. Women can be funny.
We can also
Yeah.
be down.
Women can
Michael.
sing, also tell jokes.
And then the comedian told jokes, and then they said, "Wait, I can't make jokes in front of this person. They're my son."
Anyways, so
Andrew doing the Lord's work.
yeah, themes of this album. Jackie, what did you take away from this album? Or someone else wants to go.
No,
Like,
no, Jackie. I want to hear Jackie. I really do.
What did I
we've
take
discovered
away?
that you're funny. Now, like, let's see if you're smart. Like,
Yeah, I can't say that I took a lot of themes other than like, you know, figuring out relationships for the first time. I have to say some of the songs in particular, I forgot which one, but when we go through them, I'll be like, that one. Some of them were mixed, in my opinion, in a fucked up way, because she's already purposefully being extremely quiet, very breathy, so quiet. And then on some songs, especially one of them early, might have been like the third or second song, they decide that they're going to mix her voice so low so that you can barely fucking hear it. So I can't tell you that I really took lyrics from this.
actually, I agree.
Honest.
I agree. I actually don't disagree with that at all. Like, because it's like, it feels like one of the songs is called Chihiro, and it's like, you know, based on
that's the one.
yeah, but like
that one's produced really quiet.
No, that's
they
not that
literally
one. That's like
at the end they deliberately like just fade
That's
it
it.
out like very at the end, but like it feels like a dream, like that song
Yeah.
itself. And
Yeah.
like Miyazaki movies feel like dreams of like, okay, Spirited Away technically has a narrative you could track, but then there's like a radish monster, and then like the boy is a dragon, and then the dragon is a river, and then, you know, the old lady has a twin sister, and the old lady has like a big old baby that turns into a little
Wow.
mouse. And like it's kind of like there's technically a narrative to this album, but like it's kind of like there's a lot of dreamlike imagery and dreamlike lyricism in a way, like where I don't even know if you're supposed to register what the words are saying. It's just like kind of like listening to ASMR while you sleep, kind of.
A little bit. Yeah.
Yes.
Very that.
Yeah. So maybe relationships is the theme.
Yeah.
We
And
made that
relationships
conclusion.
and I would say relationships in like old jazz. I feel like she was like, you know who I really like? Judy Garland. Like I feel like she was like, like I just feel, you know, like I just feel like she really got into like that kind of like, oh, like, oh, really, that kind of thinking. You know what I mean? You heard it. There was an affectation in one of the songs where I was like, and now she's doing this. That's fun. I like that.
No, that's lovely. I really appreciate that. That's wonderful
Yeah.
stuff. All right, you proved
Yeah.
you're smart. Like there you go.
I feel like that, especially for how short this album is, it feels like it's like a reflection on like one very short, intense relationship is what
It's
it feels like.
also
to me.
not that short of an album. These songs are kind of long for pop songs, to be honest.
but it's
It's
only
45 minutes long, the
But
album.
for
in
10
total.
songs.
Yeah.
yeah.
That's
Wow.
true. The songs themselves are long, but I mean, when we're in the pop era of like fucking, you know, Carly Rae Jepsen and Taylor Swift, like going, here's a fucking feature length film of here's The Irishman of a pop album, and it's like everything has to be an hour and 45
Taylor
minutes.
Swift
and you
is
have to take a fucking
digitally
intermission in the
de-aged
middle.
in this album.
And you have to take an intermission in the middle. Like 45 minutes for a pop album is really not, you
No,
know.
you're right. But I guess I think the pop album I've been listening to the most lately is Short and Sweet, which
Yeah,
is
complete
truly
opposite of
short
that.
and
Like,
sweet.
literally,
It's
like,
like 35 minutes
yeah.
long.
Yeah.
Who's by who?
Sabrina
Sabrina
Carpenter,
Carpenter.
yeah.
Oh, everyone's loving that, and I should really give it.
It's
I
really
should really
good.
give it a
Yeah, she's
listen.
great.
It's-
Like that's
Yeah.
I keep
Bob from the Minions Ghost wrote that album.
I sorry, never mind. I don't have to say what I was going to say.
Oh, that was good.
It was really funny.
Thank you, Bob,
Oh.
from Despicable Me.
By the way, we also like Nelson from The Simpsons is our guest on this episode too. That's pretty interesting. Sorry, like that was me.
Good reference.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. So yeah, but yeah, you're right, Stephanie. It does feel like I think it's very intentionally an album. Very intentionally, like she's using her influence. She's not innovating anything per se, but she's like using her influence to kind of shift the focus, like to like her young fans to like, okay, let's have you appreciate an album, like 45 minutes, an album all the way through. And it's about this very narrow relationship, this very small. It's not about like none of this album seems to be about Jesse Rutherford, like the guy who looks like Sid from Toy Story, like now. Like
The guy in the bear?
No, like he's like there.
Sid
She
from
dates
Toy
some
Story?
40-year-old singer, and he looks like disgusting and awful.
Oh.
Isn't he the guy from the neighborhood? I have no idea.
I don't care. So
I
like,
don't care either.
like, but yeah, like it doesn't seem to be anything about that at all. Like I honestly think it might be a publicity relationship just to upset people. Like I don't even know if it was a real relationship, but like yeah, but it's also like the way this was crafted. The way they did it was they would like her and Phineas would write a song, like try and write parts of a song, and then go once they like hit a wall, they just started writing a different song. Like they assembled a bunch of like vignettes into something that works cohesively, but is very like dreamlike and is very like non-linear at the same time, but also
that makes sense.
works
Some
together.
songs on their own do that, where it's like,
Yes.
oh, you're listening to this song, and then all of a sudden you're like, I guess we're going to the club now.
Yeah, it's like a completely different song halfway through. Like,
Yeah.
But I also like it, all the songs, like it's like there's one through line of the album, so like it's not hard to listen to it top to bottom either, because they all just like push into each other.
Yeah.
Also like no singles. Like it's like they're
No
like
singles.
Birds of a Feather is a single.
But like they didn't like market it. They just like the first
she
time
didn't release
anyone
any
had to
singles before
listen
it
to
came
the
out.
album, they had to just listen to it all the way through to like, and then that's why like
I see what you're saying.
yeah,
They didn't release
Lunch.
anything as a single.
Yeah, they didn't like sneak peek any songs basically. And then like that's why Lunch is such a surprise for her. Like it's like, whoa, like it's, and that's her coming out like publicly, at least. Like I don't really know her life at all, so like maybe there's something before that.
I don't think. No, we knew she was queer before Lunch.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay,
she
well-
kind
In
of
interviews,
she was
she
like
says
Yeah,
it.
it's like a
because
variety.
she was
and
like,
flavor, I think it
wasn't
was.
she like
she was like softly outed by
Yeah,
somebody, so she
yeah,
Yeah, I
kinda
think it was
had to be, like-
variety on like a red carpet of some sort.
Yeah.
And yeah.
So she like jumped on it and was like, let's not. Fine, bye, we're done talking about this. And now here's the gayest song on the planet.
No,
Yeah,
literally.
yeah. But it's such a cool like using her influence to just like move culture in this direction. Like it's kind of like a cool thing. But what about you, Michael and Stenley? What do you think of some of this album, theme wise?
Yeah, I think for me, one of the themes is the journey, like the musical journey that her and Phineas are on. Like it's them being able, because it's very rare that you find like, I mean, obviously they're siblings, but that a producer and a singer locked in to this extent over a period of time. And I think this is them kind of saying like, hey, like here's our evolution. Here's us trying to sonically like hone in on what makes sense to us. And if it makes sense to you, like great. And if it doesn't, okay. But we're gonna try to really lock in like that what you were saying, Andrew, about them, trying to actually finish a song before working on another one. But if it was blocked, then they would flip and go in a different direction. Like there's a real kind of, I think, intentionality on the art, on the actual production of the album versus the expression of a feeling or various feelings throughout a body of work.
Yeah, it feels like an experiment.
Yeah,
Like them just being like, well, what if we tried this kind of sound?
Yes.
What about this kind of song? That could be kind of fun. Let's just give it a go.
Yeah, and then it's like a compatibility and like the locked in quality that's with Phineas and Billie, and the album is about a relationship where there's love there, and maybe it's like a first love or an early like young love that wasn't compatible in that way, that wasn't locked in that way.
Sorry, Michael, you were going to say something.
Thank you. I think that it's just I think it's a lot of it feels like a coming out album to me. Like it really does. It does feel like, hey, this is me presenting myself to the world as how I know myself to be now. What you've known before was me still, but this is like how I kind of live in my head and have lived in my head, and I want to share that with you. You see that in a lot of these songs, like The Diner, I feel like, and like, you know, obviously Lunch, but you know, that's a little more, that's quite explicit compared to kind of the softness I'm kind of thinking of throughout as a theme. So
yeah, I totally agree with that. And I think that 1-2 punch of Skinny and Lunch, right? Like Skinny is like the last time that she's like almost letting the external dictate how she views herself. And then once like, and it's really great titling, right? Like the idea of the song Skinny and how she's thinking about, well, I lost weight and people view me in a particular way, and yet I don't feel that same feeling. And then right away she then flips it and then talks about lunch, right? Like the idea of eating the person that you desire the most and then being able to express yourself and who you really are. I think that's a really great like 1-2 combo, and it sets the table, to continue the pun, for the feast that we're going to have with this sonically. And I think that it was very, very appetizing. So Michael, you're 100% right. Chef's kiss yet again on a great comment.
Thank you. I heard DJ Khaled didn't want Lunch to come out because it was going to make him look bad.
It was going to make him hungry.
There's the coming out part is really because it's like public. She was always queer, and she kind of positions herself in interviews like I was always queer. I was always in love with girls also and stuff like that. But it's like this is like more explicitly public and also explicit. So there's a comfort with her own skin that wasn't as present in her previous 2 albums. Like her first album especially, there's a lot of like, I want to die. Like I want to die. I'm so unhappy. And like that one song that's like a single that came out, like never really want. I don't even know. I forget what it's called, but like
give us a little something.
Yeah. I need a little more.
But like, yeah, like there's a few songs where she's like, I want to die. Like I'm so unhappy right now. And then like in this album, she's blue. She's not like suicidal. And there's like
when the party's over, I think maybe is the song you're thinking of.
That was not the song, but like I know that's also a different song that does that. Yeah. And then it's like very unsentimental and anti-romantic about a deeply felt and emotionally stirring relationship. Like she clearly feels very deeply, but then she oscillates from like, I would die for you. Like, I wish we could like love each other until the light leaves my eyes. And then the other song is like, I don't think about you at all. Like actually, that song I wrote was bullshit. I made that up. You know, that's not even real. And then like, I still think about you, but also like, do you think about me? And like, apparently she's the one who broke up with this person. Like she's did an interview with Lana Del Rey, which is really great read. But like, she's like, I've never been the one to break up with someone, to be broken up with. I'm always doing that to people. And when that happens, people don't even feel bad for you, but you're going through your own thing too. You're going through your own like emotional turmoil. I think a lot of this is just sorting it out, trying to piece it together the way the album's creation was pieced together.
There's like a light theme of like fame and the sort of damage of that, because like Skinny is kind of about a public image, and then she dives into this whole album about like this relationship, and then the very last line of the album is, and when are we going to hear the next one? And I think that's a really interesting, that's just such an interesting like sort of prologue and epilogue to this album that's not really about fame at all, you know?
It's certainly like that's the most what's the word, like it's not intertextual, but like kind of like autobiographical the album gets, like without like it's very vague of actually like who this album is about. Like you can't really tell if just by the lyrics, where in like Taylor Swift you kind of like know exactly who the song is about, and like that takes a lot of the fun out of it. But this is kind of the opposite of like, it's kind of like you're just like dropped in water basically, of just like do what you will with this. Like I wrote very personally about my experience, but I didn't share the details of everything, but do what you will with this art. So that's kind of cool.
Yeah, and I think that is the hit me hard and soft, right? It's like it's almost her like saying like in two breaths, hey, I want to bring you all in, but also get the fuck out. And so yes, I'm going to be very personal about how I feel and who I am in my relationship, but you're not going to know very much about any of those things. And then like Steph catching that ending, those last words is perfect. Like it's perfectly her saying, all right, I have produced an album. Now, when do we hit them with the next one? And it reminds you that you were just a consumer. Like you're actually not her friend. Right? Like so
it's a little
Nelson's back.
It is that little like tongue-in-cheek Billie Eilish thing I would expect, which is like this very deeply personal album, and then it ends with like it's almost like a "Are you happy now?" It's almost like a, you know what I mean? It's almost like, all right, there's your fucking album that you fucking begged me for.
Because
you know,
and it's that weird thing we're wrestling with now with pop stars, especially of just like you want your pop stars to be relatable, you want your pop stars to kind of like speak to like feelings normal people are going through, but you also want them to be gods, you also want them to be like superstars and better than us in any way. And then when we come across them in real life, we like project so much onto them and then like don't even think of them as people. And then this album is a lot about like, I'm a human being. I cry. I'm a human being. She's also trying to see the humanity in her former partner, and also like the audience in a way, in a roundabout way too. And then also like as a product, do what you will with it. Like Phineas says about the lunch song, like, I don't want you to think about Billie, who she wants to eat. I want you to think, I want you to think about your own life and who you're horny for, basically. Like that's fun. Yeah.
I think that there's also a theme. Okay, I don't know if this is purposeful or not, but she has the same vocal run as Sarah Bareilles in Sarah Bareilles' song Gravity, which is one of the best breakup songs ever. Down. And then she does the same thing in two of her songs, Because You is Billie Eilish, and then she has the same thing earlier in the thing too, and I was just like, what's happening here? This is so, it's a great it's a great piece of music, and I wonder whether it's purposeful or not. It's not, it doesn't necessarily have to be, but I wonder whether she's a fan of Sarah Bareilles, because that's also a very like heartbreaking song about a relationship that's toxic and you shouldn't be in. I don't know if that's purposeful.
Michael, what's your favorite Sarah Bareilles song from a TV show?
I was about to say, do you think Billie wants to be on Girls 5 Eva?
Yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah, this is all just an audition for Girls 5 Eva.
Yeah, perfect. Oh, I love that.
Girls 5 Eva's great.
It's so funny. I laughed so hard at the splingy and that I started like listening to the splingy, and then it got on repeat, which is so embarrassing.
But it's like, of course, like they're good. Of course, she's.
I mean, it's not that good of a song.
Master at making, catchy tunes. Like, yeah.
It just made me laugh when it's like they keep spinning till you hear the sound, and then it makes like a noise, and they're like, that wasn't the sound, keep spinning.
That's so funny. Well,
some of my favorite Lady Gaga songs are her fake pop songs that are making fun of pop songs in the Star Is Born.
Hair, body, face. Hair, body, face for you.
It's so like it's like sometimes these satirical songs are just so good.
Get you. It's like, the Cure.
One?
Oh, sorry.
Yes, I do. I do know
that
the
song.
Cure.
I promise was written as like one of those fake pop songs, and then they were like, I'm pretty sure, this is my little theory, that it was written as one of those fake pop songs, and they were like, this is kind of good. Like, just that.
But I love the fake ones. There's one that's so I sing all the time. Why do you look so good in those jeans? It's so
Who's that one?
Stupid. That's Lady Gaga in Star Is Born. It's a fake song.
Okay.
But it's so funny.
Alec Baldwin sitting there listening after he introduces her on SNL, he said, I need to go practice at the shooting range a little bit later.
No.
He was acquitted.
Yeah. Well, on that note, let's take a break. Click. Welcome back to the show. Welcome back to I've been meaning to listen to that podcast where we go through albums we've been meaning to listen to, use as a conversation about each other and our guests. And yeah, we're here to talk about Billie Eilish's "Hit Me Hard and Soft," or mostly soft, as like Jackie like implies. So yeah,
Be real soft.
I'm gonna hit you hard.
I'm gonna hit you hard for 5 seconds, but then mostly I'm gonna hit you real soft.
What if it was like a
It's
fucking
a nice
metal
one.
album? She was like, "Hit me hard and soft," and it was just like her screaming death metal. Can you imagine?
that'd be sick. I mean,
I was honestly like,
wouldn't be
ooh, happy
surprised
when
if
she
that was-
did let it out
Mhm.
strong. For the little moments that she did in this, I was like, okay, Billy, yes.
Yeah, it's a very like lowercase album for like when you look at the Apple Music, it's like all caps,
Yeah,
like the
all
lyrics,
caps.
like where's but like it would actually make more sense to, like if it was all lowercase. But
Mhm.
yeah, like let's
In
turn to
parentheses.
yeah,
Yeah.
like very
It's,
like
it's like smaller.
like 5 font, like 5 size
Yeah.
font. So, like,
That's right.
but Jackie, what is a highlight song that you enjoyed from this album?
My favorite song from the album is also one of my favorite songs that's on the radio right now, Birds of a Feather.
Yeah.
Agree.
That's
My
great.
biggest issue with it is not an issue. It's not an issue, but it is
Okay.
just echoing what I feel about the album in general. It is generic to me. I love this song. I
Whoa.
think it's a bop, but it could be Sabrina Carpenter. It could be Gracie
No.
Abrams. It could be anyone. It
It
is
could
not.
be Gracie Abrams. It could not be Sabrina Carpenter.
It is not Billie Eilish.
I think the
When I hear
production is what. Yeah,
it, doesn't feel
yeah, I'm
like
sorry.
Billie.
Okay, I
That's
agree.
fair.
Other
it
than
doesn't
her
That's
voice.
feel
valid.
like
Other than
Billie,
her
yeah.
voice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's a great song.
I think
Yeah.
Billie is like one of the most talented voices of the generation. Like truly,
Whoa.
like an insane singer.
Wow.
I really think she has a
Yeah,
great
yeah,
voice.
no, she is.
I think she is a beautiful singer, and she doesn't use it at all most of the
Mhm.
time.
Well,
Like
she uses a lot of technique, but we don't get to hear the full like range of her because to sing the way that she sings, that really whispery thing is really
Yeah.
actually really difficult. But like,
but
it's
I don't
not
really
what
care
her
for
voice
it. It's
can
not
do.
my.
Yeah.
It's not. It doesn't like trigger
No,
my
I mean, I'm with
synapses.
you.
No, I think Birds of a Feather. She's actually doing what I like
Yeah.
her voice to be able to do. The rest of the album, I don't think she's doing it.
Well, like this is like
Which-
her first time like belting too. You know, like this is like
Yeah.
she was like 17 years old. Like, and she said she wasn't able to do it as well. Like basically, and
Mhm.
then like now she's
Which
like,
is true.
and then like she was like, oh, can I hit this note? Can I hit this note? Oh, should I hit this note? Dude, like it's like that's a lot of fun.
I'm surprised at how clear her belt is when
Mhm.
her, default singing voice is very like round, and I'm surprised
I
at
like that.
how, yeah.
Do you guys feel like Billie's aesthetic, like her clothing aesthetic, matches her music at all?
No.
Because I feel like she dresses like T-Pain on like Flavor of no, not T-Pain.
Yeah.
She dresses like Flavor
Oh.
Flav on Flavor of
Yeah.
Love,
Yeah.
and I just am like, this is how you choose to present yourself to the world. 2009
I feel like-
T-Pain.
She's like the goth version of Renee Rapp a little bit. Like
Oh
just
That's
yeah, that's really
Yeah.
smart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that.
All
I
right,
like Renee
delete what
Rapp.
my stupid thing I said.
yeah.
I think this song is her being caught in a lie because she said that she's like, yeah, no singles, like I want the whole, but this is clearly a single. Like clearly when they made this song, they knew if we were going to drop one, this was going to be the lead song. This is a
I
song
don't
that
know
was
if I
going to
agree
break
with
through.
that because
Because
I think the reason it sounds generic as a single is because it needs to be in the context of the album. I think as a single it is incredibly generic, but in context it works really well.
Yeah.
Yes, but it hits all the notes that you want in a single.
True. Yeah.
And if
So-
you hear it on the
Yeah.
radio, if you can't, you can recognize her voice, so you know who it is.
Right.
But if you're just listening to the music without the voice, it could be anybody.
Yeah.
Mm.
No,
Yeah, like
that's true.
melodically, like it's not hard. It's not a hard song to like, and I think for songs that are designed as singles, it's that, right? It's like, hey, like I want to capture you. So what's the least amount of effort that you could put in as a listener? It's this.
Mhm.
Whereas for me, my favorite song is The Greatest. We'll get to in a second, hopefully.
I don't think
There's
so.
work in The Greatest. So I think that's where there's a difference between the two. And I heard what you said, Andrew. I heard what you said.
Yeah, but yeah, it's like Birds of a Feather. I'm now seeing what Jackie was saying. I was disagreeing, but now I see exactly what you mean. Of it's like, yeah, it's like on TikTok with no context, you could just enjoy it, you know, and
Yes.
like, you know, I agree with that. And then, but I do think it's like the production that when it's like really Phineas, I like what Stephanie said is like it's so tailored to her voice and so tailored to her giftings that yeah, it's like I can't imagine her working with someone else actually. Like suddenly like Max Martin, it'd be strange. But yeah, like it's like I like it in terms of like capturing young love, capturing what it feels like to be in love when your brain isn't developed yet, you know, like your brain isn't fully, and everything is like life and death, but also the circumstances are pretty low stakes in general. Like the person you liked at like 21 years old, I don't think about anymore. Like as a 29-year-old, I don't think about it. I don't feel
You don't.
anything, you know. Yeah, like I'm not like fighting for this person I felt like was in love with when I was like 21. It was like so far away, but like, and I like what she says about like the line of, you know, it's like can't change the weather, might not be forever, but if it's forever, it's even better. So like she's aware, she's smart enough to be like aware of like what I'm feeling right now might not last forever, but you know, I'm glad I'm experiencing it. But as the song progresses, the relationship slips through her fingers, and it's like she can't help but be upset about it. You know, she can't help but be like, so like and the belting at the end is like really captures that yearning and really captures that sadness and grief of that lost love. So. Okay. So let's not talk about the greatest. Let's talk about some other song. Michael, what's the highlight song for you?
For me? We're not going to talk about the greatest?
Unless it's your highlight. Is it your highlight, Michael?
No, it's not my highlight.
We all gang up on.
I like it fine, but it's not my highlight. I think this album's actually really, really good. So
yeah, what do you
my highlight is going to be L'amour de ma vie.
Oh, oui.
Sarah Bareilles one.
Yeah, I don't like that the title is in French. I think honestly,
you heard it here first. Michael hates French
if you know
people.
French, fuck you. Sorry,
Fuck
like
you.
I hate to say that, but
even the French chef in The Little Mermaid. You hate that guy?
No, the French chef in Little Mermaid is fine. Remy and the girl from Ratatouille, they're fine. Celine Dion is fine. It's a case by case basis, though. I just want to say, largely, I'll stick with this. I think L'amour de ma vie. I really like the theming of it. I think it's like it's like a funny take. It's like sometimes the kind of thing you have to put in your mind after a breakup. I think that's like how I see her approaching it, where it's like, yeah. I'm the love of your life, of course I am, you know, but you just weren't mine, and that's why it didn't work out. Like I think maybe that's true, or maybe that's just your take on the relationship. But I think I like the song, and I think it's like a interesting take, which is like if a pop song has like a angle into something that I don't hear that often, like that's a lot of fun. So.
And I like that it changes halfway through the song, right?
I was going to ask, do you like the end half though?
Yeah,
I do.
Okay.
So good.
She kind of sounds like she kind of is doing a Charlie thing. I'm just like the auto tune, like kind of like.
Yeah, I think the whole song is good. I think it's like a more fun part to the album in an album that's a little sleepy. Jackie, I think you'd like that second half.
I think I would too. But again, it just felt, that second half felt so generic. It just didn't feel like Billie. It felt like Charlie. It felt like, what's the blonde one?
There's a lot of blonde ones.
Camila Cabello?
No. You guys mentioned her earlier.
Sabrina Carpenter.
No, no.
Do an impression of her.
I know, but I can't think of any of her songs.
Renee
She
Rapp?
had one song that was like a bad single that everyone loved.
Camila Cabello.
Oh, no. I did not. It's crazy. Come on, baby.
Oh, Carly.
Like it felt like Carly. It felt like Charlie.
Carly Rae Jepsen would never write L'amour de ma vie.
I'm not talking about the
like the
beginning.
end part.
Just the ending. Just that, like
Maybe.
that housey beat to me was just like, oh,
Okay.
Yeah,
Jackie,
I
then
could
what
do
kind of
that on
song do you want Billie to
iTunes.
do? Sing us a song that you'd like her to do.
And her singing in that part too, I was just like, I don't want to, like, this is like, that part just annoyed me. I'm
Mhm.
sorry.
No,
What
you
I told you
can
what I
have
want
an
Billie to
opinion.
do.
I
I
like.
want her album I want her to be spooky. I want her to have, I want I want it to be wild. I want it to be unexpected. And I want it to be uniquely her just because, but that's so much to ask. It's too much to ask.
it's
She just
also
gave
like-
it to me.
when
already.
when you're making music at 17, you're gonna like it's gonna change. Your taste and your things are gonna change
I know.
when you're like whatever age she is now, like 22.
I
or
just
whatever.
can't believe it went like in the direction that it went.
I think this album is experimental, but in a like a less in your face way. Like it's experimental in the way like I'm gonna try a Charlie thing in the middle of the song, or just, I'm gonna try a little thing here, but it's not experimental in like it's the weirdest thing I've ever heard in my life, which is like why people liked her in the first album.
But when she is doing the Charlie thing, like with Charlie, like on Guess, I kind of don't like it. I'm like, this doesn't
Well, she's
match
not doing
to me.
that.
she's not doing the voice though. Like she's not
No,
doing
but
the
she's
voice
doing
in
like
this, yeah.
But like at the end, especially when it's like Charlie being like, guess, and she's like, guess. I'm like, I don't really like this very much.
Yes, no, I
I don't
Don't
really
let
like
Charlie work with that Nazgul ever again.
Stefanie, what's a
Not
highlight
the
song?
Nazgul. I think it's Chihiro. It really for me is a tie between Chihiro and Lunch, and that's not an exaggeration, but I think Chihiro edges it a little bit. I just like the vibe of it. I do kind of like that. I know I like the lyrics of it. I like I don't know, I just like the vibe of it. It is dreamy and weird, and like it does feel distinctly Billie Eilish. Like I feel like it would
That
be
one
at home.
does. Her
It would
like
be at home on like one of
this
her
feels like her
earlier
old
albums.
thing, yeah.
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 But I think it's Chihiro. Like I said, it's a tie between Chihiro and Lunch because I love how unapologetically horny Lunch is. I like that it's explicitly horny and explicitly like lesbian, and like I genuinely think that like there have been a lot of lesbians making pop music, and they historically have always had to veil it. And I like that we're in an era where like Billie Eilish can write a song about eating a woman out and we're fine with it, and like it's very explicit, and you know what I mean? I just like that we're in this era, and I like that she doesn't have to like mask it and like yeah.
I feel like there's so many.
I could eat that boy for straight lunch.
Honestly, a song about eating a boy's ass as a woman would be really insane too. Just saying. That would be really changing the vibe. Sorry, that's very vulgar of me. Let me keep it a little more PG. I do want to say, I feel like there's so many queer women making pop music that are so famous, like the most famous women of all time. And not that I need this, but like the most famous gay man singer I can think of is Troye Sivan, who is B-list. Sorry, not to rank people like that.
Elton John, but he's like past his prime. He's like an old man now.
Elton John. Ben Platt, but is Ben Platt like?
Yeah.
Do you want Ben Platt to perform at the VMAs? You know, Katy Perry does Wave Into the Window with him.
Oh my god. To your point, though, yeah, like I don't know that there's a gay male
Sam
pop
Smith
singer who is as
has
high
been
profile.
out of the limelight for a while.
But Sam Smith is non-binary, though.
Yeah,
No,
and not as high
like
profile
not
as
famous
Chaperone
in that
and
same
Billy.
way. Yeah.
Because even
I think
Sam Smith at their
was
height,
at a certain point. Yeah.
Yeah, even Sam Smith at their height
2014,
was not where I don't think it was.
No, not Chaperone status, not
Chaperone
Billie
status,
Eilish
not even
status.
Billie Eilish status. Yeah,
Chaperone, talk about pop princess. Talk about give me more Chaperone. Give me.
Just don't say hi to her.
She can yell at me all day. Shut the fuck up.
Yeah, that was the best.
Oh my god! Honestly, I think people kind of
like what could that photographer have possibly said?
And she's like, "Don't try me."
Yeah,
not with me. Not with me. So good.
I think like the story is like that guy was just being an asshole in general and loud and saying shut the fuck. Yeah. And then she interpreted it as it was about her, and then she was upset.
Or not. Who cares? I'm happy that she did it.
More like shh, Bull Roan, am I right?
Yeah, more people should yell at men. Anyways, like
I
Okay,
Stanley.
sorry,
like
I sidetracked you, Steph, by talking about that.
Oh, so yeah, Steph. Yeah, that's right.
Chihiro.
Yeah, well, you said Chihiro and Skin.
Yeah.
The lunch song. Okay.
And lunch.
Yeah.
A lunch song. Yeah.
It makes
yeah,
it sound
that's
like it's
good.
about Lunchables. Okay,
Yeah,
Stanley,
like
it's your turn to,
literally.
it's your turn to talk about the greatest before Andrew can stop you.
Well, I don't want to talk about that anymore. I want to talk about this album because Chapel Roan. I was thinking about this. I was going to say it for my closing arguments, but
Then do and talk about the
Closing
greatest.
arguments.
okay, yeah. Okay, let's talk about the
Like
greatest.
we're in court.
Talk about the greatest.
The
'Cause
greatest
I think
is
I
when
might have liked that one. I
you
don't
did. You
remember
really
it.
did. You know why you liked it?
Oh,
Because
yeah.
this is the song where she like hits you soft and then hits you hard.
And then hit too hard.
Right? Like this is a song where she's like, I'm gonna try to flex my
Yes.
my singing muscles. And I just the way it starts with the guitar. There's a beautiful kind of ending to that first chorus where like almost the music evaporates. And then she kind of hits that the greatest, and then
That's yes.
the 808s come in, and then all of a sudden, after the second chorus, she just lets shit rip.
And there's strings, right?
Yeah, yes, and it becomes
Yeah.
very. It's a very like American Idol, shout out Katy Perry, like kind of that closing song that captures everyone.
Sucked.
The confetti comes down. You're doing your dishes, like it's just everything is culminating to that moment where Katy Perry. So it's just a really really great kind of explosion, and I kind of coupled some of these tracks. So for me, I actually coupled Skinny and Lunch together, and then I coupled the greatest L'amour de ma vie, if you say it in French.
Yeah. Love it.
Together. And I think that coupling is great because here she is like kind of being very braggadocious. And then the last chorus, she's being very almost introspective and admitting that like, wow, like I'm actually not the greatest. Like you're not seeing me in that light. And then L'amour de ma vie is her kind of saying, but you know what, guess what? I broke up with you.
And I
You know,
lied.
so you might think you broke my heart and wow, you moved on so quickly. But guess what? I dumped your ass. I didn't love you that much anyway because I'm the greatest. You know, so I think when you pair them together, it really amplifies the hits of both songs. And that's why for me, that's the best section of the album.
And that's where she starts to like mirror the album too. She starts to reference it because the string part in the greatest is the one in the like where the bridge would be of Skinny. Da,
Yes.
da, da. And it also that string part also reminds me. I don't know if she did this intentionally, and I would love to know if she did do it intentionally. But that string part in Skinny that comes back in the greatest sounds a lot to me like the melody line from the song from the Barbie movie.
From Barbie, yes.
Yeah. Da, 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 da,
Yes.
Like a really, really, really melodically similar. And I would and like if you think about those two songs, like especially if you think about What Was I Made For and Skinny together, that's
Yes.
a really
Oh
interesting.
yeah.
Those are a really interesting conversation. Yeah.
Well, they were talking about that, how people would listen to this album off of What Was I Made For and hear
Yeah.
Skinny and say, okay, like this is it. This is where
Yeah.
Billie is going to rest in this pocket. And then Lunch,
Yeah, we get
it
it.
just hits you
Yeah.
even harder with Lunch, right? Like, anyways, the greatest, I think the greatest
chicken
track here.
nugs, get the crackers and
The
the, cheese.
greatest.
It's about
When I first
Lunchables.
heard the greatest, I thought
Yes.
if I wanted to listen to a sad sax song, I'd listen to Damien Rice, and it would be more theatrical, and he'd give me more. He would move me. And then she added the strings. She opened up. She started to belt, and I was like, okay, it isn't moving me, but it is giving me the thing that I was missing from the first half, where it did go where I ultimately wanted it to go. But yeah, she's,
and
listen, she's in an era right now that I just like, I'm turning to Billie for fun. And that's why
and
for
I
me,
think
I'm like Birds of a Feather, you like Lunch. Yeah. I'm like, if I want to like really get down, I'll listen to Elliott Smith or
yeah, but I think this is where it's interesting because, and this is my take is where Chapel Roan takes you on this kind of amusement park ride of really fun sonics. This is the museum of sonic kind of poetry, where the songs and the soundscape isn't meant for you to just feel like you're like, what? Like this, like having this like crazy high. It's also almost meant for you to like be inspired or not. You know, when you go to the museum and you see something and there are 10 people watching the same thing and we all have different reactions. This here is like, you know what? I'm going to hit you with these offbeat drums on the greatest that you might fuck with because it's like, man, like I don't even know how to dance this thing. Or you might say, I can't dance this thing. So fuck you, Billie Eilish, for doing that to me. Because I'm looking to dance. You know what I mean? Like I'll take on a ride on Bittersweet where the synths like hit you so wickedly at the beginning and then they go away and you're like, why'd you lose those synths? And then you bring out even bigger, darker ones towards the end. And you're like, okay, I get it. It is bittersweet.
Yeah.
You know?
And it's like the way we talk about music on like social media platforms, like they use the word mid a lot, and like which you know technically means like the way they use it means bad, but like in the context it's just like, oh, this doesn't move me. But I think there's a quality of Billie's art. It's either you love it or you hate it, or kind of like, and like it's inspiring that more so than like quote unquote mid, you know, just like I didn't think of anything about it at all.
I don't know.
Like,
I think it's more. I don't hate it. I mean, we're talking about it passionately for like the pod, but like when I, you know, listen, I don't think about it twice. You know, I'm not like I would never tell someone I hate this album. I would just say like, yeah, it was boring.
Yeah,
I wouldn't say please listen to it, but I wouldn't hate on it. You know what I want for her next?
What do you want?
Or what I wished this was, maybe if she was gonna be like sad and still slow. Bonnie Bear, you know?
That could
that to me seems like a nice mix of what she's leaning towards and where she came from.
Billie Bear.
Billie Bear.
The bear. Just the bear.
The funniest comedy.
The funniest comedy on TV. The bear.
I think it's good.
What's your favorite one, Andrew?
Yeah, Andrew, hit us with
I think it's honestly the greatest. Like,
yes,
we're not allowed to talk about it. But like,
it was your rule.
What the fuck?
Oh no,
Jackie,
hoisted by my own petard.
I feel
a tale of your own creation.
Yeah.
You're in your own tortured poet society. Sorry.
Oh,
I'm sorry.
But yeah, like it's like the confidence on the. I'm thinking about songs like "You Should See Me in a Crown." I'm thinking about the Bad Guy song. She's kind of like when she was young, she was projecting a sort of confidence that I think she later revealed wasn't real. It's like an act. And she was 17 years old and she was scared all the time. And then like the next album, Happier Than Ever, is like, oh shit, I'm famous. Let me try to transform into this other thing. Like, let me try this out. And then she's kind of like almost like went through the hero's journey and then is back home. And like she's back in her like baggy clothes and back in she kind of dyed her hair back the way it was in a different color though. And but she's changed and like I think this is like self-love and confidence that doesn't come from arrogance or putting on a costume, but it comes from like the assuredness that comes from progress, like years of progress, and the assuredness that comes from like, you know, going through a relationship and knowing you did your best and knowing you actually were patient and loving and all this stuff. And then even though you're broken up and it's sad, like, and there were times you like weren't desired the way that you wanted, like you kind of came out the other side of it, able to affirm yourself in something based in reality. Like I think she can say these affirmations and they come from a real place instead of just like this fictional like thing, you know, this fictional like you kind of like, which is why like some affirmations don't work, is because you don't believe them. And so that's what I think about that song.
Yeah, she has a lyric in that song where she says, "And we don't have to fight when it's not worth fighting for." And I think that's kind of like her talking about her place in pop music almost. Like I don't feel like she's fighting to be like the pop queen or the pop princess or the leader of anything. She's just kind of like, every so often Phineas and I will get together, make some music, and it's gonna be popular because I broke through when I was 17 and people now like are invested in this, but I'm not so much invested in the career of Billie Eilish. I'm invested in trying to almost rinse myself of whatever residue that's there from a space where she wasn't able to express, and she's depressed and she's feeling blue and she's feeling almost trapped, and the music is the outlet to kind of break through, and it is not meant for you to necessarily dance in the club to, but maybe it inspires you to listen to something else that will help you break through too. Like so it's almost like she's like, use this however you want to use it. I'm not using it just for capital. Whereas pop music by definition is meant to be used for capital, right? To become popular is to make a lot of money off of something. And she's already done that. Like, so it's like she now no longer has that desire, I don't think.
And she wrote the two.
Yeah.
Like Birds of a Feather and Lunch exist.
Yes.
And to say they don't exist for that would be
that's
insane.
True. Yeah. 100% true. That is true.
And they sound so different than the rest of the album.
Yeah, that's true too. And actually, Andrea, so what something what you were just saying made me think about, like, especially comparing, she is kind of drifting back in towards like a similar aesthetic to where she was for When We All Fall Asleep, Where Do We Go? That sort of tomboy kind of thing. But there's a lot of, if you sort of compare the two, there's a lot of, this album is a lot more like female gaze, and that's GAZE, not GAYS, but both are true. But I think there's like, it is a very like, you talk about Bad Guy, right? At least she's talking like, that's a very like male gaze song. I feel like it's a very like masculine sort of fronting. And this is like tomboyish, but it's a very like feminine energy, right? And there's a lot of, it's very feminine for her, which I think that is like a deviation from the person that we have gotten to know, sonically.
Yeah. And Lunch, the song, like, it's like a power, there's a power dynamic there, but she still has this feminine touch to it.
Yeah,
like,
it's not like, oh my God, it's not I Kissed a Girl, right? Like
it's not that. It's also not like the gross male, like, I bought you so much stuff, you have to suck my dick now. Like, it's like that really gross.
I did the dishes.
I did the dishes.
Yes.
I did the dishes. I closed all the pantry doors.
Who's grosser, every man on earth or just Katy Perry on the podcast?
That's Clip. every man on earth, clearly. Like, by the way, that's not. But yeah, like, it's like she's like saying, if I'm allowed, and I'll turn the bathwater the way you like. So it's like there's some consideration, even though she's like kind of in Guess the song too. She's like, guess, like, I bought you this underwear and like I have all this money and you don't. There's like a little bit of that there, but it's like slanted because it's coming from she's owning her femininity.
No, it's not. That's not even a money thing. That's like a sexual thing. Like, it's like a intimacy thing. It's in Gas, at least. Sorry, to correct you. It's
I was reading. She gave a quote about Lunch, like that line, and I could buy her so much stuff. And she said that she and Phineas just thought it was really funny, like the idea that you're like so sexually attracted to somebody that like your brain shuts down, and you're like, I could just buy her a ton of shit. Like, all you can think about is like, let me just buy you shit. You're so hot. Like, and I think that's really endearing to
And the guest line is like, I know you're wearing the underwear I bought you. It's more of like I know you and I know you so intimately. Like, it's actually really sexual in my opinion. It's one of the more sexual things in that song. But
all right, let's go through lowlights. Any lowlights of this album? We can go through these a little quicker, but like any lowlights are like, boo,
kind of
the song
bittersweet.
bad.
I just don't think about it really.
What does that even sound? I mean,
exactly.
honestly,
No, exactly.
I don't know.
Exactly.
It's the penultimate song, right?
Yep. But I remember Blue. I remember the Diner, but Bittersweet just sifts through my brain.
I don't think about you at all. Okay, Don Draper.
The Diner, Bittersweet, and Blue. Couldn't tell you what any of those sound like.
Oh, see, the Diner I also kind of like too. Because
I like the Diner.
I could tell, like, but like, it's
maybe
kind of
if
like
you're saying it.
You don't want that to happen.
It's
Yeah, it's a hard one to sing because it's so like it's another one where they really use her voice as like a production piece. But yeah, but I also do
Yeah.
think
One of
that
them
song
sounds like you're in the castle of Mario. Is it
Yeah,
that one?
yeah, that's
Yeah.
Diner.
Okay.
It
Yeah.
goes like this.
Yeah.
It's like that one's like a weird the diner song, but yeah, the album kind of just like floats off into nothingness. It kind of just like
After the diner, yeah.
yeah, just kind of like, oh, we're in the club on the diner, and then
Mhm.
I guess we recap the album themes and like we combine a bunch of like the blue song is like they combined like 2 songs from 2 different eras and then rewrote the lyrics. So it was like kind of like, and then it just like floats off into like water. Basically, it's just kind of like it just like, all right, time to stop thinking about that. You know, like,
Truly, it floats up into nothingness, but that's why everything we talked about and even themes and highlights were from up till L'amour de ma vie, which kind of ends as like an ending, and then the rest is kind of like and boopa doopa doo. Here's the rest of the album. You know what I mean?
Yes. By the time blue happens, every time I'm like, oh my God, how many more of these do I have? How many more of these do I have?
Yeah,
of
I agree.
these? Because there so many of the songs are like that. And then every time I've looked and been like, oh, thank God it's the last one.
it's like if you're falling like if
You're
you're
learning
like
a lot about me and it's not good.
no, it's fine. It's valid. It's true. It's true and it's honest. Like, but if you're falling asleep listening to this album, like this is the part where you're in like REM sleep. It's just like
If you
you're
fall
not even,
asleep
like-
during this album, Andrew, where do you go?
I'm happier than ever, I guess. Until my brother hits me hard and soft with pillows.
Where do we go? Wildflower is another one I always forget about.
I like Wildflower, but also it's hard to
can't-
remember it.
Yeah.
Yes. But I like it. I know I'm like, oh, that was good.
I know, but it's like when it plays, it's like, oh, that's nice. Like when it plays in the context of the album.
What does it
I'm like,
sound
oh,
like?
okay.
I think I might like it.
I don't know if that's true, Jackie. I feel
Maybe
like
I
you don't
do.
like any of the songs on this album.
Maybe I do.
Yeah,
I
it's more forgettable for me.
I don't hate this.
Yeah, you're gonna
song.
give it a 10 out of 10. I
don't hate the songs.
I think
Or
we're
the
gonna. She's gonna be
albums.
giving this a L'amour de ma vie. Am I right?
Hey.
Zing in French though.
le faux de rating. Exactly.
Oh, you know,
Exactly.
observation I had like is the use of drums. Like I think they really help frame like kind of like
Yes.
when it's drumless and just like bass and guitar, it's like, where am I? What's going on? And then drums, they drop the drums in, like, oh, a song is a song. I'm listening to a song, basically. Like that's why Birds of a Feather and Lunch are so the hits, like all drums, like the drums the whole time, basically.
Wow, I'm shocked. I thought we were all gonna be like, this is so good.
I think it's so good.
I like it.
Andrew,
I like it.
Didn't you DM me about doing you? And it might have been this. I think you were like, hey, we want to do like a pop princess one. Like, how do you feel about doing Billie? And I was like, I haven't liked her last album. I don't think I should do it because I don't think
No,
I
this
don't-
is good. It's
I
better.
don't want
Like
to be
when there's, like, a bit
negative.
of-
And then you like threw me other people, and I was like,
I was
I
like,
feel-
because
I don't remember.
I really like you
but
on
was
this
it
show
this
so
or
much.
was I
It was like
negative on somebody else?
Dua Lipa. It was Dua Lipa. It was like the other.
It was Dua Lipa that I was like, I can't. We can't do that one.
Yeah.
That album is so nothing. Oh
Then
my
listen
god.
to it. It's all the same by now. But I like that first one again. I really and the one that came out during the pandemic, I liked a
Oh, of
lot.
For
course.
nostalgia. That one is great.
But my thing
So
on Dua
good.
Lipa is like, what is her identity? Like, she like travels.
Girl who goes on vacation.
Yeah, that's like not a girl who goes on vacation has a book club. Like that's not a thing to latch on to, really. Like, I don't know.
think
You know
we
what? You know
know.
what my identity is?
What?
Man who wraps up the podcast.
Whoa. Well,
Wraps
hey.
it up. I was just
That's
listening
very
to the Bruce
subtle,
Springsteen
so
episode.
subtle.
Well,
I was listening to the Bruce Springsteen episode again, and Michael just saying "wrap it up" to everything is
Mhm.
now lodged in my brain.
Well,
wrap it up.
Did I do that many times on the Bruce Springsteen episode?
No, you only did it once, and then Stenley and I did it 4 times.
Oh.
Well, before we like do that, there's actually like some trivia here where like you know how True Blue, so like the blue song, they actually combined two songs from like the two different eras of like Billie's career, where like True Blue is from When We Fall Asleep, Where Do We Go? And then Born Blue is like from the Happier Than Ever era. But she actually like before like there's original version of the song where she actually like incorporated a version of the song that she wrote when she was 4 years old, and it's called like Blues Clues. So I actually have a clip here.
Oh my god, every time.
I knew this. It's so good. The setup is perfect.
No.
Yeah, so it's real.
Oh boy, here we go.
Like, yeah,
It's
yeah,
real.
So, yeah. So okay.
This is gonna be so dumb.
Here's the mail, it never fails. It makes me wanna wag my tail. When it comes, I wanna wail. Mail.
So like that's a little clip. Let me see if like there's anything like they do later in the song.
Jesus.
Wait, did you
Andrew.
record this whole thing, Andrew?
No, hold on. Let's see
We
what
have
Billie.
to
that's
collaborate
Billie
on
Eilish.
this.
Let's see
That's
what
Play
Billie
the whole
Eilish.
thing.
Can't you
Okay,
tell?
did Billie do the whole thing?
Hold on.
Oh, it's just barking.
So this is like her coming into her own as a songwriter. Like she was a prodigy early on.
This is like that episode of South Park where you find out Randy was Lord the whole time.
So yeah, you got the idea basically.
I like
so,
that.
Yeah. So yeah, like that's a little bit of trivia. Like yeah, like she was a big fan of Blues Clues. So anyways, let's go through final thoughts and ratings. The way this works is we'll rate this album.
Oh god.
Fun mention at the end. You know, it's just like, oh wow, like there's like a spark there. Like there's a real spark.
Yeah, she was figuring out her. Anyways, I really like this album. I think it's super listenable. I think it's way better than Happier Than Ever, which I find to be an album truly of nothingness. Jackie, I agree with you on that 100%. I really like this album. I think it's one of her best works. I mean, not that she's put out a ton of stuff, but I really like this. I would listen to it. I have been listening to it, and I will listen to it again. I'm going to give this rates of a feather. We should give 8s together.
Oh.
So it's out of 8
Out of
or
10.
out of 10? Okay.
Yeah. She gave it 8 though. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, 8s of a feather we should rate together. Is that what I should do instead?
Who cares?
No, I liked what you did.
Hey,
It's
thank
great.
you. Thank you.
It was so good that I got confused.
yeah, that's a sign of a good rating. Stenley.
Okay, yeah. I like this album a lot. I thought it was really good. I think it's still really good. I will probably listen to it again and think that it's even better. So I'm gonna give this 8.69 loves of my life, but in French. Out of 10.
But in French. 8.69.
Yes, that was intentional.
That's very specific.
Yeah, I think this is really good. I when I first listened to this album, I like thought it was nothing. I really had no opinion, except for Lunch, and not even Birds of a Feather like affected me the first listen though. I was just like, oh, okay, it's all the same. But this opportunity has been really lovely to just really delve into it, like, and watch the form reveal itself to me. I thought that was really cool, and I like that she's kind of more so shifting away from that pressure of being the future of pop and like being this like child prodigy into just like being the greatest in her way, you know. Like I think that's so great. So I'm gonna give it the greatest -2, so 8 out of 10.
That's
Has
fine.
everyone given
Oh,
it
that's
8?
good.
Yeah.
The greatest -2.
So I gave it an 8. Yeah.
Has it
Stenley
been
gave
8
it a little
across the
higher. He
board?
gave it
Stanley gave
8.69.
it an 8.69.
Pretty good. Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay, great.
I like this album. This really started as a protest listen, you know, an anti-Taylor Swift listen, but I was hooked in. I was hooked into the album from the beginning. I've been listening to it all summer. I like the way that it flows together. I like what she's, you know, I like that she's sort of deviating from what we know her as her style. I like to watch a young artist experiment. I'm excited to see what she does next, however long it takes her to do that. I'm not gonna give this album an 8. I'm gonna give it a 9, and in the gayest rating ever, I'm gonna give it 9 girls I could eat for lunch.
Nice.
That'll definitely not perpetuate any rumors that are going around about my sexuality right now. This shirt is not helping anybody either, but
Yeah, your lesbian shirt.
my
Talking
extra
about your
large men's
sexuality.
shirt.
Yeah, Jackie, where are you at?
Well, I have to say, I listened to the album 3 times for this podcast.
10.
Every time that I
10.
listened to it, I
Hands
did
across
like
the
it more. I'm not sure. I think because I was listening to it more like, okay, I have to know these songs. Like, I have to know what I'm talking about. I do. I have to know what I'm talking about. I don't have to like it, but I have to know what I'm talking about. That being said, I won't listen to it again. I find it to be an altogether forgettable album. And so I'm giving it, but I don't hate it by any means. I don't hate it. I just don't feel anything. So I find it to be very mid. So I'm going to give it a 5 wildflowers.
Wow.
Oh, that's good.
Well, yeah, we appreciate you, Jackie, being very funny, being very smart, and knowing what you're talking about.
I warned you about this one too. I said I
totally
don't think it's going to be very positive.
No,
That's fine. I like when
Yeah,
people
me
don't
too.
love, and it's not just love fest.
Yeah,
We're not getting
honestly,
paid by the
episodes
artist, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
And the episodes are more, they're like, honestly, like my least favorite episodes of our podcast are the ones where like everybody's just like, I just like the whole album and I have nothing to say about it. And like, that's not,
Yeah.
it's fun when it's like,
I've never done that, Steph, and I hate that you imply that I have.
I don't think you have, but there have been a couple. Well, it's like the ones you're not on.
Oh, the ones I say that sucks. I will not show up for that episode.
Maybe. There have been a couple where it's just like, oh, this is really, it's either like it's everybody likes it or like somebody hasn't really listened to it.
Yeah.
Shit, we need names.
Yeah, say the names.
Some other time.
Hey.
But like, off air.
I'll say that for a separate recording.
Yeah. So yeah, that was our review of Billie Eilish's "Hit Me Hard and Soft." So yeah, we also got like exclusive like Billie Eilish like 4-year-old Billie clip. That was pretty interesting too. We learned a lot along the way.
Her voice was so low, even as a 4-year-old.
Yeah. She hit puberty, she hit puberty like reverse
Hard
puberty,
and then soft.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, Michael,
She was
stand
a
up. Coming soon.
deep-voiced yeah, like actually it was Phineas who gave the reference track. So it was Phineas as a 9-year-old. So, anyways, like that's.
Is this when he was working with Ferb, or had they stopped working together by then?
Yeah, like their older sister Candace was getting in their way.
There was summer break.
I want
and they
Billie's
decided to
next
record an album.
Her next aesthetic move to be to dye her hair red so that she and Phineas can start twinning. And I want them to always wear the same outfit just for one season,
That'd be fun.
just
I like
for
it.
one.
That would be
good.
That's kind of fun.
Let's get you on the phone with Billy. Stat.
Yeah.
Call that number at the end of the diner and tell her what your idea is.
Oh yeah, I did like call that, and then I was like the first time I did, the first time I was like scared. I was like legit scared. I was like, did I actually get her number? And then it was like for half a second, and then I realized it was a voicemail. So
And then what was the number? Where did it lead you? Like a
it
Google
just like
voice?
said like it's probably just like, hey, you could text here, and then you'll probably get like tour dates and stuff and whatever. So
Yeah, it is. It's one of
that.
those texting things, but if you call it, it's like just a voicemail from her. It's cool,
cool.
but
That's
it's
cute.
yeah, it did like I the first time I heard it on the diner too, it scared me because she's whispering it and she's like repeating it like a mantra, and of course the diner is like all about stalking somebody, so it like is really spooky, and it like the way that they were like the way that they mastered it, it's like really close in your headphones and it's really scary. Yeah.
Well, speaking of scary, social media. Like, let's talk about social media. Like, Jackie, what would you like to plug, social media or otherwise?
I guess I'm at
Yes.
Jackie Durruthy on Instagram, and that's really where I will post my other plugs. If I have things to plug, I'll post it on there, and lots of cute pictures of my dog. So please enjoy at Jackie Durruthy on Instagram. Thank you.
Oh yeah, and you can follow check out the Patreon, our new Patreon. I've been meaning to watch that. We covered what's it called? Death Becomes Her. And you can follow me at Andrew Ambrose Lee, the show at IBMT LTT, Michael at Lemon Taco, Stenley at Snapistan, Harper at Harping About, Stefanie at Steph Senior, and Megan Rika Young did our artwork, and Honest did our theme song. And Jackie, anything you'd like to just close us off with? Any final thoughts?
Christmas is almost here. The most wonderful pod of the year is a good one about Christmas movies. And I don't know, just music wise, listen, let's have a good time. Let's listen to some more albums. I had a blast. Thank you all for having me on and making me listen to an album that I would not have listened to in entirety. And I'm happy that I did. Happy that I did 3 times.
Happier than ever.
Yeah, absolutely. I thought you were just gonna say. I thought you were just going to 315-262-3334. But like, I thought you were just gonna say like, by the way, on music, listen. And then I thought you were just gonna stop talking.
Listen.
Yeah, just like, oh, good advice.
Listen to it all. Listen. Have a good time.
All right. Thanks so much, everybody. Have a good day. Click.